Greetings everyone, this is Connor from DagoraTV, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why The Elder Scrolls Legends is not a Hearthstone clone. Okay, so the reason that I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of chat around the Elder Scrolls community and also on just the general gaming community as well about the Elder Scrolls Legends, saying that it's a Hearthstone clone and kind of writing the game off before it's even come out or before even people have had a chance to play it. I mean, I can understand, not really getting excited about when it was first revealed, saying, it's a card game, it's different from the single-player game that people want, and people not really getting excited about. I can completely understand that, but people are saying it's a Hearthstone clone by just having a glimpse of about 30 seconds of gameplay. It's something that I kind of want to prove wrong after hearing what people have said about it. We've played the game and seeing a lot of gameplay on the internet. I really want to, get this out there so as a message to really both communities, for the Elder Scrolls community to kind of give it a shot, and also the CCG fans as well to maybe look at the game and see how different it is from a Hearthstone game. Okay, so the Elder Scrolls Legends to start off with is, it is made by Direwolf Digital, which is a brand new offshore company that is being published by Bethesda and was shown at Bethesda's E3 press conference. And obviously, as a game, it's heavily inspired by Hearthstone. I mean, there's no point in denying it. I mean, I could sit here and say how it isn't or how completely different it is, but I just want to get it out there that of course it is. I mean, this game probably wouldn't have even come about if Hearthstone wasn't successful, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have its place in the market. And really, at the end of the day, it's adding more options to the CCG area because, the grand majority of people play Hearthstone. The new RuneScape card game came out, and there's also Magic the Gathering Online and things like that. There's more and more adding to this genre, which is a good thing. Options are always a good thing. So, let's get into the differences, and the first, and obviously the most obvious one that probably everyone has seen who's seen some gameplay before going into this video, is that the Elder Scrolls Legends is played on 2 lanes compared to Hearthstone's 1. So, the way this is different from Hearthstone is that if you haven't played Hearthstone, which I can't imagine you haven't, but it's really where you have just one table, and when you play a card on the table, that can either attack other cards that the opponent plays on the table, anywhere where they put them, because it's literally only one lane, and you can also attack the enemy boss as well. Whereas with the Elder Scrolls Legends, there's a left lane and a right lane, so when you get a card, you can put that onto the left lane and stack cards on that left lane and make that left lane really, really powerful to attack the boss with, which could force people to defend the left lane. Or you could spread your army out, which would force the enemy to stretch their army out, so then you can attack from both ends, which is, again, another unique thing from Hearthstone, because, it's adding that extra tactical feature, because if someone piles on the left-hand side, and you can think like, oh Christ, I can't just put, my cards on the right-hand side because I need to defend this lane in specific. And an example that someone saw that played a game on Reddit was talking about actual rules that there is amongst the 2 lanes, is that you can have battle cards in one lane and they can attack the main characters directly, but one of the special rules that they said is that the left lane didn't actually have a special rule, but the right one that he had said that the minions played in the right lane cannot be attacked until the turn after they're played. So if you really wanted to, you could stack up that right lane really quickly at the beginning of the game, or later on in the game, say like, the cards on the table have just been defeated and it's pretty much an empty table again. You could stack up your enemies on one side, one lane, with the spare mana that you've got, and then attack the enemy from there on, and after they go, because they cannot be attacked immediately, so you've got really that chance of really wiping out the enemy there, which is again different to Hearthstone. There is cards with the passive ability, that cannot be attacked until the turn after the play. That is there, but on the grand scheme of things, this is a very unique thing when it comes to the lane system that's making the 2 lanes making them different, really, because a lot of the time of what I saw in the game, this is something that I didn't actually know until I was reading up on some of the play testers at E3 2016, and they were saying this is actually having a big effect on the game, that the people, were just putting the cards on the left, to kind of like as a distraction, to kind of defend on the main, because some of the other players was kind of stacking them on the left-hand line as well, or there was playing it on the right-hand side to really get that attack on and, be able to defend them for a while, which, again, is a very different thing, and tactically is completely different to Hearthstone. Being able to play it, I'm sure the big CCG fans listening to this will probably be thinking, like, wow, that is actually kind of surprisingly different, that could actually have a different way to kind of think about the tactics of going into the game and being able to react to the situation a little bit better, because you've got to really take notice of 2 sides of the game, not just one with Hearthstone. Hearthstone, everything's in front of you, whereas this, you've got to be looking at both sides and thinking about what you do when you play it. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's a lot more tactical than what Hearthstone is. Also, one of the things that I've heard is that, or when it comes down to the lane system as well, is that when it comes down to actually piling onto your lane as well on the left hand side when you actually take down, when you attacking damage onto the main boss, is that they have a new system in the Elder Scrolls Legends called runes, which is another change from Hearthstone, where taking damage actually allows you to draw more cards in the Elder Scrolls Legends. So whenever you take 5 damage just from a boss, I think 5 is the amount, and then you see these little dots around the character's, you know, the character's portrait here, right here, these green icons, you can see that every 5 damage that your opponent does will activate a rune. And when this rune gets activated, it allows you to draw a card. And that means it will, you know, it could mean, you know, that you just get 1 card added to the deck. It means that you could have a special flag in it called a prophecy, which I'll go into in just a second. Or it could be, you know, one that could be immediately played in. Or it could just be, you know, just a random filler card just to go into your deck. But, you know, you could be thinking to yourself, you know, what difference does this really make? It's just a small, unique feature that this has got. But in reality, you know, this can drastically change the outcome of the game, because it's kind of giving you a route back if you're completely getting battered by the other player, which, you know, is kind of something in Hearthstone which I've had a problem in. You know, every time I've played Hearthstone a few times, not every time, but a few times that I played Hearthstone when I've been kind of had really heavy hitters against me in the beginning of the game, I can kind of presume that I'm going to lose that game. There's been times when I know for sure that I'm going to lose the game, and there's no point in really kind of finishing it. Whereas with this, there's always a way back, because you don't know what card you're going to be getting redrawn. It could be, you know, a real heavy, you know, it could be an epic card which could be thrown in and then really change the balance of the game. Or it could be one of these prophecy cards, which is another change which I'm going to go into right now. And these prophecies is when sometimes you get these, you know, these runes, when it gets activated, you get a card, and it could be flagged with a prophecy. And this is a card that can immediately be played into the game during the opponent's turn. So that's a huge change from Hearthstone, a huge change, where the opponent's having to go and they've got an idea of what they're going to do, so they can defend, and then the other opponent will react, and then another one has to go. But with this card going on, they could be taking the turn, and you could just hit them with the damage on one of the enemies that they're planning to attack with, and then then your boss is not going to be getting that damage, and you've actually kind of defended them in a way. Or you can just immediately place a card to, you know, defend from an attack from the boss, which is going to be taking, you know, more mana out of them, more, you know, more attempts out of them, so you can kind of lengthen the game out until your go, which is, you know, again, a big game changer, which I think, again, this is more of a thing that the CCG fans, I think, will be listening to and thinking, okay, you know, there's actually some tactical differences between Hearthstone and Skyrim that I can, between Hearthstone and the Elder Scrolls Legends that I can actually go into, because really, you can say there is similarities between the games, between the two games, obviously. I mean, aesthetically, some people say in the cinema they're very similar. I think that they look a bit, I think the cards themselves look similar, but I think the actual card art on the images, I think in the Elder Scrolls Legends, this is obviously, you know, something that is debatable between people, but, you know, it's all retrospective to you. But for me, I think the Elder Scrolls Legends stuff is nicer. I think it looks a lot sleeker, but I think the table on Hearthstone looks a lot better than the Elder Scrolls Legends version. But when it comes down to the actual game, there is, you know, similar as in the aspects, you know, there's a boss at the end and you're just trying to knock the damage down on the boss and then you win the game. But it's just tactically of getting to that system, of getting to the end of that, is quite different in the Elder Scrolls Legends, and it's definitely got, I think, in my opinion, it's got its place with these changes that are going to be fundamental to the experience. Another change from Hearthstone in the Elder Scrolls Legends is that there's actually a full single-player campaign, a story mode, if you will, that's probably going to be interesting, you know, the Elder Scrolls fans most, which I'll be getting into a little bit later in the video. And also the fact that, you know, there is actually a single-player campaign instead of missions and just being able to play, you know, high-level AI is something that I'm kind of interested in giving that a go. Even if Hearthstone had it, I'm not really into, you know, Warcraft lore a huge amount, but if there was a single-player campaign, I'd probably play it just to really learn the game more, because, you know, you are going to, you know, understand the meta and understand the kind of the routines that kind of take more when you're playing more online, but to kind of get a general understanding of how the game works, I think it's better to have a story mode instead of just having the run-of-the-mill tutorial that Hearthstone has, for instance. That's for me, again, that's just something that I prefer, but that could be different for other people. And like I've said, this is the last point that I want to make about, you know, one of the differences in that why the Elder Scrolls Legends had its place, is that it's not trying to compete with Hearthstone. The Elder Scrolls Legends, there's a lot of people trying to say is like, this is not going to be a Hearthstone killer, yada yada yada. This has been a big comment that's been kind of going around the MMO market, that every single new MMO or hyped MMO that comes out is going, is this going to be the WoW killer? When in reality, it's not trying to kill WoW, or in this case, it's not trying to kill Hearthstone. It is just trying to have its place in the CCG market and, you know, get regular players coming to it and playing it. And it's something that's going to be quite you know, is different and kind of fresh when it comes down to the actual tactics of playing in the game. And these new tactical ideas are actually really fundamental to the experience, and it's something that I'm very interested in giving it a go to see kind of how different it is when you're actually playing the game. It is from Hearthstone, and judging by what a lot of people are saying, it's that even big major Hearthstone fans have been saying, or major CCG fans, not people who are not exactly fans of Hearthstone, but Magic the Gathering fans, even the odd Yu-Gi-Oh fan that I've seen on Reddit, it's actually said that, you know, these actual changes have kind of made it a little bit more interesting than the games that they've played, because, you know, it's kind of a unique feature. Especially the 2 lanes idea has got people the most excited. That's what most people are talking about, and it's definitely going to have its place. The only problem that I see, though, for the Elder Scrolls Legends in this market is that I don't see a huge amount of people wanting to leave Hearthstone to play this game at all. Like, not even giving it a go. We see this time and time again with, you know, when the new MOBA comes out, for instance, with Dota and League of Legends, because so many people play those 2 games, have put, you know, a huge amount of money into, you know, League of Legends to get all the characters, or in Hearthstone, huge amount of money into packs and stuff, that they don't really want to devote them to a new game because they feel like all the stuff that they've paid for the other one has kind of been a waste of time. So that's the only worry that I've got for the Elder Scrolls Legends, but it's going to be interesting to see how it does. And I think a lot of people should give it a go and probably will give it a go, but again, it all depends on the business model, which hopefully will be coming out soon. So this next part of the video is going to the Elder Scrolls fans. You know, this is something that if you are a CCG fan or a Hearthstone fan, if you have no interest in the Elder Scrolls series, you can probably bow out now. You can probably quit the video now, because this next bit isn't really going to interest you. So, for the Elder Scrolls fans that have kind of been saying that, you know, they're not interested at all in Elder Scrolls Legends, they're not going to give it a go because, you know, it's not a genre that they're interested in and things like that. The first thing I want to say to that is that if you've never played a CCG before, which I know there's going to be some Elder Scrolls fans out there that haven't, you know, this is obviously, you know, a gateway into the genre, you know, for people to give a go. And, you know, that was the same thing with the Elder Scrolls Online, that people, you know, had never played an MMO before. That Elder Scrolls Online was going to be their first one, and people played it. Some loved it, some hated it, and, you know, the ones that loved it are probably still playing to this day and probably went on to play other MMOs, whereas the ones that hated it just went, okay, this isn't a genre for me, and just backed out, and that's completely fine. That, you know, there's no reason why you shouldn't give the Elder Scrolls Legends a go if it's a series that you're interested in, if it's an aesthetic, or, you know, it's kind of like the theme that you're really interested in. No reason to give it a try. Some of the stuff that I want to bring up is kind of obviously going to be around nostalgia, as you know, it's got, you know, the card art of nostalgic characters, the cards of nostalgic characters. You know, I'm sure that when we saw at E3, you saw the Lucy and LeChance card and things like that, and also I saw one guy in VG 24/7 where he was talking about his time with the Elder Scrolls Legends, where he played at E3, and he said that there's cards named, the Epic Dragon cards, they're named after actual dragons that we've killed in Skyrim. So, you know, we can actually, things that we've killed in the game, or characters that we've met in the game, we can actually play those cards in this. So, you know, he's playing on that thing of like, oh, that's that thing I know from that game I played, but, you know, it's still cool to kind of play a little bit on that nostalgic, scratch that little itch that people want to have scratched. And also, another thing that I think I was kind of interested in for some reason, which I don't think a lot of people kind of are, is that you can pick a race, you know, to kind of play as. So, you know, you can have a race to have your profile around, and you can actually have a card deck full of that race. So you can have a deck full of red cards, you can have a deck full of wood elves to play in the game, which I think is kind of cool. If you're that hardcore orc fan and only wants to play orcs, nothing else other side the orcs, you can have your way of doing that. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how the meta is. With that, I doubt it's going to go well. I'm sure there'll be, you know, ways to counteract it, but it's going to be, there's definitely unique ways to kind of play this game when it comes to races. And also, the story mode of this game is actually adding lore to the universe. You know, it's about a moth priest, you know, talking about, you know, a forgotten emperor and Cyrodiil and things like that. They're the only little details that they gave us of the Elder Scrolls Legends story mode, with, you know, with the lore concerning it. You know, it's not actually going to add, you know, books and books and huge amounts of lore to the universe, but it's going to add bits. You know, it's going to have a cool, interesting story in there. Hopefully, it will be interesting. You know, but I like the premise of it. I think, you know, it could be good, it could be terrible. We don't know yet. I'm hoping they don't release a huge amount of info on the story mode. Hopefully, it's something that we can just be surprised upon. And I think it's kind of cool, you know, that the CCG area, the CCG genre, is going to be having, you know, a story mode in its game, because, you know, the games like Hearthstone and the online client to Magic the Gathering and the RuneScape one hasn't had that, but this does, and I'm interested in, you know, going ahead and check it out, because at the end of the day, you know, like I said before, it's adding to the genre. It's making more options, having more variety in there. It's not trying to replace something or kill something, and I hope people will end up giving it a go. You know, I'm definitely going to be giving it a go, and hopefully people won't just write it off after seeing 30 seconds of gameplay, which I've seen a lot of people doing on Reddit. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching the video, and hopefully you enjoyed, more videos on the Elder Scrolls series. There's definitely going to be more coming out. There's going to be new series regarding the Elder Scrolls series coming out soon. I'm not going to be halted by that Bethesda news that come out from Todd Howard saying it was 3 games away. That's not going to be haltering me at all. Those videos are still going to be made. I'm actually away in America at the minute, so these videos have been made for a while and just be coming out in advance. So I will be kind of getting back to a more regular schedule when I get back in the beginning of July. Probably put a video out of some of my plans for the channel because there's going to be some new series coming out then. Follow me on Twitter at DagoraTV if you want to tweet me out and have a conversation with me, ask me questions, whatever. You'll see my daily tweets and games. Follow me on Twitch to watch me live stream stuff. I've been live streaming quite a bit before I left America, and we're live streaming some more when I get back. Check out the Patreon if you want to go a step further. If you pledge $2 a month to get the GNM podcast 2 days early, and another podcast that's going to be coming out very, very soon. And also, if you want to go ahead and check out some of the other social media links in the description below, like the iTunes one, if you want to listen to the GNM podcast and Stitcher Radio, go ahead and check them out. But also leave your comments below what you think of the Elder Scrolls Legends. What do you think of Hearthstone? What do you think about the comparison between the two? Do you think it has its place? Does this difference in tactics kind of enthuse you? Does it make you kind of a little bit more take a look at the game? Does it kind of make you a little bit more excited? And also, what the Elder Scrolls fans, what's your thoughts on the Elder Scrolls Legends? Does it have its place in the franchise? Are you okay with having a side game and things like that? So, once again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.